Hi there, I'm Rachael from the Workshop Whisperer, and welcome to this week's training. This week, I really wanted to talk to you about a subject which hits home for a lot of auto repair shop owners, and that is cash flow. I know for many of you, you're trying to get out of a cash flow hole. So in this training, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 instances of cash flow trouble that you may find yourself in, and make sure you stay right to the end so that I can help you with 4 things you can do to close your cash flow hole. Now, in today's training, we are going to go through some of the situations that you may have found yourself in or are currently in so that we can help you to get out of a cash flow hole. Now, you may have noticed things like it gets to the end of the month, you don't have all the money there to pay your supplier bills when they're due. You don't have enough money to be able to reward yourself financially as being the owner of the business. So let's talk about a couple of the situations that you may have found yourself in. The first of those is that you know that you don't know what you should know about the finances regarding your auto repair shop. So you may find it difficult to review your financial reports and understand them. You may even just allow your accountant to be the one that explains things to you only once a year, and that leaves you in a situation where all of the decisions that you make in between times that you speak to them, you're making blind. So that's usually one of the first reasons why people get themselves into a cash flow hole in the first place. The second thing that I find auto repair shop owners do is that they don't understand their cash flow cycle. Now, you can see from this diagram here that the cash flow cycle is basically talking to us about the length of time between when we first buy in our stock and the time that we actually get paid for the service or repair that we do that uses that stock, that part. Now, for some of you, you give out far too many accounts to your customers. And that means that the time between when you first bought the part and the time you get paid is greater than the time period that your supplier allowed you in the first place. So when it comes to the cash flow cycle, you need to actually make sure that you're getting your payments in from your customers an ideal situation would be that you get your payment in from your customers before you have to pay. But for too many of you, it's not until after you have to pay your supplier, and that leaves you coming up short. The next situation that our auto repair shop owners get themselves into that produces a cash flow hole is that you don't actually put aside money that was never yours to begin with. So here I'm talking about GST, I'm talking about employee superannuation, and I'm talking about your tax. So company tax if you're a company, or your partnership or sole trader tax as well. So when we don't separate this money out, when we get it in, we're too tempted to use that money to pay our bills and to pay our team. And we really need to get in the habit of separating that money straight away. It does not belong to us. And we don't want you to fall into a situation any longer where it's time to pay those liabilities, your GST or your superannuation, and you don't have the money. So the next thing that auto repair shop owners will often do is they drain their business of the vital money it needs to run to inflate their own ego. Now that might sound a bit harsh, but hear me out. There isn't one person amongst us as a business owner that hasn't at some point gone and splashed out on something a little bit lavish because we wanted to look like we had it all going on with our business. But unfortunately, if we do that to too high of a level, or we do it too often, we take the vital lifeblood, the cash flow from our business that it needs to run. So just ask yourself, have you spent too much money on cars? Have you taken too much money out for personal things like holidays and all those little toys that you want? Have you taken too much money out to pay your personal mortgage? These things will, over time, mean that your business has the potential to run out of money. So we need to be really careful when we look at money that we just take out that's outside of our salary that we've determined that we'll pay ourselves. And the fifth thing that auto repair shop owners will do that translates to them being in a cash flow hole is that they will never have actually worked out what goal they're working towards for their money. Now, this usually happens because there's not a lot of business running expertise that comes with the owner of an auto repair shop. Sure, fantastic technician, you've got a great reputation, you really produce great work, but we know, we've certainly spoken to enough auto repair shop owners to know that you wish that you had more business operating experience. So you've never been trained as a CEO or a CFO, and therefore you don't run your business like other professional businesses are run, where they sit down and they do strategic planning and they reverse engineer the results that they want. And because it's likely that you're not working towards a particular financial goal, you don't know then how you're tracking towards any particular number, and you don't know when you've won. And when we don't know when we've won, we kind of just continue on day to day aimlessly without really pushing to achieve anything. So that can mean that you just get caught in the humdrum of daily life, and you actually don't see a way forward for yourself. So you take maximum cash that you can from the business, and in some cases that's not even a lot, and that result will just continue year after year without you actually getting any further. So what can we do to help you out of your cash flow hole if you've related to any of those 5 things that I've spoken about? Well, you'd be happy to know that to start with, it's actually quite simple. There's just 4 simple steps that you can undertake in order to at least slow the leaking of money from your business, and that will give you time to make some plans to get out of the hole. So the first thing that I insist on you do is actually having a cash flow or cash spend freeze. Now that is going to scare the pants off some of you. What? Stop spending money? Well, let's just talk about it for a second. What we mean here is no more huge cash withdrawals from the business that are going directly to you. No more buying equipment, cars, anything like that until you understand your true financial position. And no more making decisions blind without knowing your financial position. So that includes hiring new team members. So it's really important that you only hire somebody when you can see the business case there in front of you, that's a good idea to do so. The next thing that we want you to do is we want you to list all of your debts and all of your recurring expenses. And we want you to go through those with a fine-tooth comb to see what on the expenses side can be leaned down without it hurting the business. And on the debt side, what can we do to decrease the amount of money that we're paying out to service those debts each month? Now that might be a refinance if it's possible, or perhaps you've got some redundant assets lying around that could be sold to help you pay those debts off faster. So sell anything that is no longer necessary to either maintain your current lifestyle or for the business to run. And the fourth thing that we want you to do is we want you to work really hard at putting a finance structure in place that ensures that you always have money accounted for things like GST, superannuation, company and personal tax, as well as ensuring that you're paid a wage and a profit. Now that might sound like an awful lot for you to be able to organise on your own. You'd actually be surprised at how simple it is but perhaps you need some guidance in that area. And that's actually where we come in here at the Workshop Whisperer. So there's a link below in the description for the video. If you know that you're in a cash flow hole right now, then I strongly recommend that you click the link, answer a few questions, and then jump on a call with us, because we're the experts to be able to help you out of that hole. I hope you found some great value here today in our training. Make sure you hang around and catch our new training next week as well.